In a prequel video, that's an earlier one, I have argued that Lutyens Delhi, we've defined them as that, at least for powerful politicians, that insufferable group of erudite English-speaking thinkers and writers who believe in social and cultural liberalism, who believe in human rights, religious and gender equality, small state, constitutional remedies, a freer enterprise, and of course, a dollop of efficient welfareism. Now, we've said that this group has the power to make and unmake prime ministers, including Modi, who seems to harbor an implacable hostility, calling them an elite, microscopic minority, armchair intellectuals who can safely be ignored. But nothing could be further from or more lethal than the truth. Yes, of course, Lutyens Delhi thinks and writes in English because that is the natural Indian language in which they got educated. It's a legacy of 250 years of British rule, not a willing or conscious choice. But this definitely does not make them aliens. They are as Indian and patriotic as any Hindi or Kannada or Bengali or Tamil writer or any other thinker in any other Indian language. In fact, these Lutyens Delhi writers are among the sharpest minds in India. Their arguments and criticism is nuanced, intelligent, and it's actually pregnant with actionable insights. Any politician who heeds to them can actually strengthen his power. After all, doesn't, or perhaps shouldn't a sensible leader always keep his most trenchant critics closest to him? Now I shall quote from history to prove my hypotheses. I have chosen the two turbulent decades from 1969 through to 1989, when India transitioned from a domineering one-party rule to a vibrant multi-party democracy, riddled with competing social coalitions and speaking in several regional dialects. Let's begin with the rise of Indira Gandhi and the split in the Indian National Congress in 1969. Now, it's quite difficult for millennials to believe, but Indira Gandhi started out as an anti-establishment crusader. She dismantled the right-leaning conservatives in her party, plumping for hard socialism by nationalizing banks, by abolishing princely privileges and packing the Supreme Court with left liberals. When she vanquished Pakistan to liberate Bangladesh in 1971, she hit her peak popularity. She became the darling of Lutyens Delhi. Just look at these editorials written by Girilal Jain, who was an early admirer of Mrs. Gandhi and perhaps the most influential Lutyens voice of that time. 9th December 1970. It's equally absurd for anyone to suggest that Mrs. Gandhi is paving the way for communism or subordinating the country's foreign policy to that of the Soviet Union. 12th July 1972, on the similar agreement with Pakistan, where Mrs. Gandhi was accused of being soft by returning 5,000 square miles of territory conquered in the 1971 war. She's not only proclaiming the essential unity of the subcontinent, but also taking steps to create, as far as it is within her power, conditions which can effectively bar external interventions. 23rd of August 1972, as unrest and inflation rose in India. A competition in sham radicalism can prove disastrous for the country. 6th November 1974, as Mrs. Gandhi became increasingly authoritarian in dealing with Jayaprakash Narayan's Nav Nirman or Renew India movement. And the situation need not have taken this ugly turn. 20th November 1975, in the thick of emergency excesses. There is no question that the presidential order of the 16th of November falls in the category of black laws. As is scathingly evident from the above editorials, the phraseology moving from sham radicalism to black laws. Indira Gandhi's political graph fell almost in perfect sync with the rising criticism from Lutyens Delhi. She was eventually trounced by the hastily created Janata Party in 1977, who then became the new darlings. But soon the Janata Party became a prisoner of internal intrigue and was duly slammed by Lutyens Delhi. Here, is Kuldeep Nayyar, once imprisoned in the emergency and a natural supporter of the Janata government, now turned virulent critic. Another Lutyens stalwart, B.G. Verghese, had this to add on the 15th of May 1979. Unsurprisingly, the Janata experiment failed and Mrs. Gandhi returned to power in 1980. But before she could be felled by critics, she was tragically assassinated by her bodyguards in 1984. Her son, Rajiv Gandhi, scripted the biggest mandate in India's history and took charge under a rapturous welcome from Lutyens Delhi. But once again and inevitably, Lutyens Delhi turned on Rajiv Gandhi and he was defeated by his confidant turned adversary VP Singh in 1989. Now this Thakur from Uttar Pradesh was the new Lutyens icon. VP Singh barely lasted a few months in power. As always, his honeymoon with Lutyens Delhi was aborted and slashed. Yet again, Lutyens Delhi had unmade a prime minister by the sheer force of its publishing ink. So, Mr. or Miss Next Prime Minister of India, please listen to Lutyens Delhi. Read their columns and editorials directly yourself. Don't allow aides and intermediaries to send you very sanitized excerpts. Don't flinch at their sharp commentary. Learn from it. Internalize it. Don't become hostile or retributive. Believe me when I say that that shall be the biggest guarantor of your ability to stay in office.